Welcome to another recap of Bleach, Thousand-Year Blood War. In this season, we are watching Part 3. To watch Parts 1 and 2, check out the links to the playlist in the descriptions. Let's begin. After the Royal Guard Squad takes a beating from the Quincy Elites in the last episode of Part 2, Oetsu, Tenjiro, and Kiryu step back, leaving it all to Senjumaru. With a smirk, they each press their blades to their throats, and, to the shock of Uryu and Yhwach, they slice their necks. Blood flows as Senjumaru stands tall, ramping up her spiritual energy. Gerard Valkyrie laughs, doubting that a single royal guard can do what all four couldn't. But Senjumaru's reply? Even a moment of their unleashed power would make every realm tremble. She reveals that the royal guard locked away their true strength with a soul-binding oath. But now, the seal is off. With a grin, she tells the Quincy to brace themselves, then unleashes her Bankai, Shatatsu Karagara Shigarami no Tsuji. Behind her, a massive loom appears, weaving a red cloth that wraps around the area, trapping the stunned Quincy's within a fortress of threads and beautifully decorated fabrics. Meanwhile, Ichigo and Ganju feel the pressure from their location. As Ichigo explains this is her Bankai, and Ganju's thrilled, hoping they'll take down Yhwach before the team even arrives. But Ichigo, serious as ever, isn't so sure. Back with Senjumaru, Lil is taken out as he tries to shoot through some mirrors, but holes start appearing in his own body. Askin is baffled as Spikes explodes from the ground, stabbing through his foot and pinning him down, and images of Senjumaru with massive spiked metal collapses onto Askin, burying him in a pile of twisted metal. Meanwhile, the ground beneath Pernita starts twisting. Pernita tries to crush its way out, but then the ground flickers away, revealing a pit of dark sand that pulls it down, swallowing it entirely. Next, Gerard stands surrounded by blue tapestries, causing more tapestries to wrap around his legs. Gerard's confidence fades when a second set of tapestries binds his arms, pinning him in place before a colossal glacier. An icy wind blows, freezing him solid as he struggles in vain. Yhwach's scene is no warmer. He's in a hallway lined with red tapestries, and the tapestries and branches ignite, sending waves of fire his way. He's engulfed in flames, a pillar of fire shooting to the ceiling. Finally, Senjumaru appears behind Uryu. The Wandenreich emblem appears before him, glowing and draining his power into itself, particle by particle. Uryu collapses, his strength completely sapped. In the end, 6 tapestries, each showing the fates of Lil, Askin, Pernita, Gerard, Yhwach, and Uryu, drop before Senjumaru, a final ominous showcase of their defeat. Up on the platform, Yhwach starts walking away, thinking he's left Ichibei Hisube in flames. But surprise, Ichibei is unharmed, the fire is gone, and the black in his hair fully restored. He explains that his weapon, Ichimonji, controls all the blacks in the world. Every bit of black from every living or dead thing adds to his power. Then, with a swift swing, he sends a huge splash of black ink toward Yhwach, covering him almost entirely and spilling ink like rain from the platform. Ichibei notes that having his name erased must be painful for Yhwach. So he decides to give him a new name, and with a flick he writes Black Ant on Yhwach, taunting him about the weak, tiny life of an ant. When Yhwach looks stunned, Ichibei declares it's the end of the line for him and slams down with a huge kick, then crushes him between 2 giant palms. But Yhwach isn't done yet, revealing he's been seeing everything with his eyes closed. Then, his eyes suddenly shift, each gaining a new pupil. The platform lights up with blue energy, and before Ichibei can react, Yhwach stabs him right in the chest with a reishi sword, ink still dripping from his body. Shocked, Ichibei grabs the sword, demanding to know why Yhwach isn't dead yet. The name Black Ant starts flaking off his chest, and the ink begins to disappear. Meanwhile, Yhwach, in his energy trap, chants a spell about Yhwach, fighting blindly to keep his power from going wild too soon. Just as Ichibei goes in for another strike, Yhwach vanishes, leaving him stabbing empty air as Yhwach reappears behind him with blinding speed. Yhwach notices that Yhwach has finally opened his eyes. He's at full power now and can see everything that's coming his way. This makes him practically untouchable. Watching this, Yhwach decides that Yhwach's power has an epic name, the Almighty. Meanwhile, Uryu's trapped in a glowing tapestry, but he breaks free and lands right in front of Senjumaru, who looks slightly amused. She wonders if Yhwach's awakening gave him new powers. With his eyes flashing red, Uryu stays silent as Senjumaru tells him she'll help him sleep by sewing his eyes shut. Uryu challenges her, saying she's welcome to try if she can dodge his arrow. He fires, but Senjumaru dodges with ease, weaving around fabric rolls as her image pops up on the tapestries around him. She mocks him, wondering what a mere Quincy could inherit or leave behind. Then she surrounds Uryu with flames. Then Uryu looks up, startled, as huge hollows drop down toward him. The tapestries part and Uryu is left dangling from the ceiling, arms all tied up. Senjumaru teases that Uryu wouldn't be in this mess if he had just stayed hidden in the human world. Meanwhile, Yhwach, without a drop of ink on him, stands before Ichibei, who's ready to throw shade. Ichibei pulls a whole ceremony out of nowhere, claiming it's dedicated to Yhwach's doom. But Yhwach isn't having it. He says there's no way to understand or beat his power because everything around Ichibei is just powerless against him. Then, bam, he gets a creepy third eye in each of his peepers. Ichibei charges at him with his sword out, ready for a fight. With a flick of his hand, he blasts Ichibei, tearing through him and sending his head and limbs flying. Now, back to Uryu. He's floating in the air, massive quincy wings behind him, all charged up with energy. Senjumaru, surprised, wonders if this is the power of a stern ritter. She's not impressed, thinking she can still take him down. Uryu points out she's stuck in her own bankai. Suddenly realizing she's tangled in her fabric, she's shocked. Uryu fires a deadly Halic Fell right through her chest. She bleeds out and crashes to the ground. With his eyes glowing red, Uryu kneels, his wings growing even bigger before bursting in a wave of energy. After regaining control, he watches Ichibei's magic dissolve. Yhwach, feeling cocky, strolls over to Ichibei's seal, casually destroys it, and opens the way to the Greater Soul King Palace, declaring the royal guard has fallen. As the Schutzstaffel kneels beside him, Yhwach walks down the path, destroying pillars and creating glowing blue stairs leading to the palace. He's ready to finish what he started, reflecting on 1,000 years of struggle and planning to take down the Soul King.
お前の死をもって完結する。3階の王に送る手向けの金だ。
Cut to Ichigo and the crew arriving in the vestibule road, only to be horrified by Ichibei's severed head lying there. Orihime rushes in to help, but then Ichibei's voice echoes in Ichigo's mind, telling him to call his name. Confused, Ichigo shouts Ichibei's full name and, boom, Ichibei's body comes back to life, much to Orihime's shock. Ichibei thanks Ichigo and explains that all power is in names. Ichigo helped restore him with a bit of his own power by calling him. But there's no time to waste. Ichibei urges Ichigo to stop Yhwach, reminding him that the Soul King is crucial for keeping the worlds together. He apologizes for putting this on Ichigo, but insists it's super important. So, with determination, Ichigo and his friends race up the glowing stairs toward the Greater Soul King Palace. Meanwhile, down in Mukin, Captain Commander Shunsui Kyoraku approaches a bound Aizen, who lifts his head as if sensing trouble. Back at the palace, Yhwach finally reaches the Soul King, says his goodbyes, and plunges his reishi sword through the Soul King's chest, declaring him his father, the one who's seen the future.
未来を見渡した我が父。
Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for the next episodes, and subscribe for more videos.